You remember I talked about 7 habits of highly effective people. And if there's a lesson that constantly rings in my mind is seek ye first to understand and then to be understood. Because the moment you're a leader here, you know what happens, and ideally what will happen to each one of you is, I feel like it's like God marks you for leadership, you know. So you've been marked and then he says, I am ordaining you and so I have to train you because of what is ahead of you. So now, after this, from my experience, literally, when I moved from campus, I moved to the corporate world, and then I was trusted into leadership. And then I left the corporate world, I moved to a different organization. And then shortly after, I was trusted into leadership, trusted. And then after about 2 years, I moved into now the organization I'm currently in. And I took up the senior most position. And so thinking about being a young person, running an organization that has about 140 staff, you know, it's such a big thing. And when I was doing my interview, I remember doing interviews with other people who had like 30 years experience, 10 years, 2 years experience. And so I think one thing that I learned from the entire leadership training is to believe in myself. You know, you're equally as good as anyone else who's competing for that role, because if they're looking for a leader, for me looking back and I'm thinking it, back in Maseno I was in charge of 14,000 students, what is 140 people, you know? So it gives you that self-belief. And it's not different. It's the student leadership and then the corporate space or whatever other space. It's nothing different. Same problems. You're managing people, so you need to learn how to manage people. And those are skills that I picked throughout this training. So yeah, back to seek you first to understand and then to be understood. For me, it's been very instrumental when I'm solving conflicts in the workplace. And I just want to understand what's your perspective like. How did this come to be, and how can I help you so that you can perform better. That's one lesson. The next lesson that I learned from AYLF, I'd say, is I think mentorship. That just like Angel has said, Angel amesema amekuja na one of your mentee. So it's that your capacity is built so that you can also build the capacity of other people. So it's like a gift of mentorship that I have carried, you know, with myself. So whether it's in the workspace, I'm always constantly looking at what is this person doing? How can I help this person to be better? What other leadership capacity building opportunities exist for this person, and how can I be best empower this person to even do better? That's number 2. For me, campus was a learning experience. And let me tell you, I think when you're in campus, that's a place of trial and error. You can try anything and get away with it, you know, within boundaries, you know. This is the place where you can say, I want an appointment maybe with the Cabinet Secretary for Education, and you know, just go through the entire process, learn, and or maybe send a text message, and you know they will listen to you because you're in campus. It's different for me, you know, right now. If I need an appointment, I need to go through an entire procedure, you know, write letters, do 1, 2, 3. But if you seek audience from the Cabinet Secretary of Education, maybe, and you have your grievances, and they are well laid out, it's very easy for you to get access to such people. So is something that I started doing when I was back in campus, you know, just thinking. And it starts by very little steps. Maybe you looking at the issues that are affecting you in campus, and then you're thinking, okay, instead of going for a strike, I think dialogue can work in this case. Let me get audience with the vice chancellor, for example, or the dean of students, you know. So in that sense, you're representing students and you're presenting their grievances, and then also just getting into those negotiation tables. Ideally, you get to learn negotiation skills, that there are alternative ways of dispute resolutions. I don't necessarily need to go to the street. What is the purpose of, looking at the bigger picture, what is the purpose that I intend to achieve in this meeting that I want? Yeah, just thinking through that process has been very helpful, because now, when I moved into now the workspace, it's the exact same thing. I work, my organization works around menstrual health, which is a big challenge in Kenya. We say 65% of girls do not have access to menstrual health products. So building on that lessons, I know what am I mapping? Who do I need to speak to? Is it the Ministry of Education? Is it the Ministry of Health? And how can I then reach out and now, based on statistics and experience, try and convince them to be partners in the organization? So the little lessons that you learn, it's not different out here. The leadership, you know, the problems you're solving in campus, maybe someone has lost a biro pen, or there's a housing problem, which is the current trending topic in Kenya. Sindio? So there's a housing problem in campus and you're thinking through the hostels. Can we discuss with private investors to come in and construct? Can we get this at subsidized rate? It's the exact same thing that the president is dealing with currently. So it doesn't really change. You have to build resilience. You have to remember those lessons, and you have to remind yourself, because it's easy to forget lessons. So that just constantly need to remind yourself